In the year Y2K, Mr. Beaker's 10th grade chemistry class concocted some glowing green stuff. It was stored next to a box, altering its molecular structure. Later, the school was demolished, and it was replaced by a mall. The box remained undiscovered until now. The long-lost box of molecularly altered educational film strips. Beep.
Focus. When you hear this sound, advance the film strip. Angry Bunny Film Strips presents Google and You, or What You Can Do With Your Computer. Brought to you by Uneven Distribution. Why, hello, Herbert. Say, that's a swell-looking computer, but what will you do with it?
In today's society, people take their new computers to Starbucks.
But beware, Herbert. There are other places to take your laptop. Bad places. You wouldn't want your laptop to end up like this candy-painted floozy, giving laptop dances at 20 gigs a pop. Look, Herbert, it's your friend Little Susie Sunbeam. Hello, Susie. It appears that she has a new computer too. It's a Macintosh computer. Too bad you couldn't afford one of those. You should have saved more nickels. Well, well, it looks like little Susie is using the internet on her computer. But what is the internet? I wonder what Susie is doing. She certainly seems busy typing. Google. Google. Why, that's the title of today's lesson, Herbert. Google and You. There you go again, Herbert, being a scaredy cat. But there's nothing to be afraid of. You can even tell good old Mom and Dad. Well, maybe we shouldn't tell Mother about Google. She might not understand. Yes, perhaps not telling Mother would be best. Yes, definitely not that. Why, it says right here in the instructions that Google is so simple and easy to use that even a girl can use it. Even your friend Susie has typed her name into Google, and if by magic a wealth of informative and entertaining information pops up on her screen. I didn't know Susie liked rabbits. But how will you use Google, Herbert? After all, too much information can be painful. Simply by following some easy-to-learn rules, you too can be off and running in the wonderful world of Google. Herbert. Google Lesson 1. Type something. Go on, Herbert, type something. I know. Why don't you type in your name? Herbert Hoboken. Oh, dear. Look at all the Herbert Hobokens in the world. I guess you're not as special as your mother said you were. 1, 2, 3... 13 Herbert Hobokens? Even Jesus only had 12 disciples. Oh, that's right, Herbert. Google it if you don't believe me.
Don't worry, friend. With Google's patented ranking system, you can finally have the respect you deserve. Now everyone around the world can click on your name and meet the real Herbert Hoboken.
Why, that's not you. That's not you at all. That brings us to Google Lesson number 2. Google Lesson 2. Only important people show up on Google. That's right, Herbert. You're going to have to do something pretty extraordinary to be ranked above the others. But what types of things would you need to do? You could run for public office, win a large cash settlement from an insurance company, perhaps even start a forest fire in Northern California, near Google headquarters, perhaps. Well, I hadn't thought of that, Herbert. I suppose you could contact all of the other Herbert Hobokens and ask them nicely to give you their ranking. But how will you contact everyone? Certainly you won't get very far with an old-fashioned phone book. Why don't you use Google Lesson number 3? Google Lesson 3. Find and track anyone you want on Google. To start, you can create a Google Gmail account and email everyone. That wasn't so hard, was it? What a modern and amazing time we live in. Oh goody, a response already. Who's it from? Herbert Hoboken number 1? Uh-huh. Oh, looks like he doesn't understand your predicament. Why don't you use Frugal to create a nice care package? That's sure to win him over. Let's see, flowers, chocolate, a day planner. All of that wrapped up in a big green bow should do the trick. How about Herbert number 2? It says here that he lives in Florida and is an exterminator. There's something you don't see every day. I didn't know red ants like Kool-Aid. I'll have to Google that. Still 10 more Herberts. I know. Why don't we ask some of the young people in this classroom to come up with other ways Google might help you meet some of the other Herbert Hobokens? Good job, class. Pat yourselves on the back. You came up with 8 great ways to meet other Herberts using Google. Now there are only 2 Herberts in the world left. Herbert number 11 is a gun enthusiast who is very busy hunting. By using Google Calendars, you can find out when deer season ends. You can even schedule some time to meet him down at the firing range. Only 1 Herbert Hoboken left, and look, he's the mayor of Columbia. It certainly will be difficult to get a hold of him. Politicians certainly don't have much time for common folk like you and me. Doesn't your friend Susie know the mayor? I know. You could use Google Talk and ask her to introduce him to you next time she sees him. Dear, dear. I guess it is true what Mother always said. The quickest way to a man's head is through his heart. Now that you've met all the Herbert Hobokens, you can use Blogger by Google to write down all of your thoughts for the world to read, including the local and federal authorities. It's too bad they won't let you take your new, shiny computer into jail. But that's okay, Herbert. That brings us to our final Google lesson of the day. Google Lesson 4. Google is everywhere. You can even post your interview with Geraldo on Google Video. Now everyone will know who you are. So, what have we learned today? Lesson 1. Type something. Lesson 2. Only important people show up on Google. Lesson 3. Find and track anyone you want on Google. And finally, Lesson 4. Google is everywhere. So remember, kids, if you're ever feeling insecure about who you are, use Google to fix it. It certainly worked for Herbert Hoboken, and it will work for you too.